I'd make like $100,000 a fight. You fight 2 or 3 times a year. You pay 20% to your manager. You pay taxes, but you're not rich.
Life as a man is far more difficult than life as a woman. And one of the key components of manhood always has been and always will be, we have the ability to control ourselves and not act emotionally. Females are more emotionally driven, more emotionally impulsive than a good man should be. Saying that I felt like crying so I cried, this makes me a real man.
Andrew Tate explains masculinity. Controversial. Masculinity is often seen as a negative thing, but Andrew Tate explains masculinity in a quite unique way. He says that masculinity is about men being able to make rational decisions in the times of crisis, while women mostly think with their emotions. A real man is someone who knows how to control his actions and emotions. He doesn't just cry whenever he wants because he has such remarkable control over himself. The men who constantly tell you to cry more are emotionally weak, and they just want you to get down to your level because they can't match yours. So don't succumb to their weakness and continue to have control over your emotions, because that's what real men are supposed to do. Do you think the men fighting wars back in the day cried every time they had a wound? Of course not, because that's not how men are supposed to function. Andrew Tate also explains the concept of toxic masculinity and says that whenever men try to be themselves and revert to their gender roles, certain women start calling them toxic. It doesn't really make sense because for centuries, men fought wars and women used to stay at home. Even today, in poor countries, women are not breaking gender roles and are a lot more feminine because they're living in a survival situation. According to Tate, toxic masculinity is only a problem in first world countries because they have everything they need. So women try to demonize men even when they just act on their natural masculine instincts, and that too when women themselves try to be a little more masculine to prove themselves. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe to our channel. Also, take care and thanks for watching.
It's as stupid as me saying, well, I felt like smashing his face in, so I smashed his face in. This makes me a real man. No, the hallmark of a real man is controlling himself, controlling his emotions, and acting appropriately regardless of how he feels. And throughout human history, this is exactly how men had to live their lives. Do you think that the teenagers storming the beaches of Normandy felt like crying? Of course they did. But they also knew that that wasn't the correct thing for them to do. They had a duty to commit to, they had an honor, and they did what they were supposed to do regardless of how they felt. That is the mark of a man. Weakness and absolute submission to your feelings are not the hallmarks of men. It's not the way society has ever been built. It's never been built off the backs of men who were crying their eyes out because they felt like crying. The only kind of men who advocate crying are the kind of men who do not have enough self-control to prevent themselves from crying. Because we're all human. There's times in your life as a man you're gonna feel like crying. It's gonna happen. But what you're supposed to do is not cry. Because this is a test in mental fortitude. And there is no physical fortitude, there's no financial fortitude, there's no other type of fortitude without mental fortitude. So when you feel like crying, you ensure you do not cry, and you act appropriately as a man should. The men who say no, succumb instantly to your emotions, are the kind of people who have no self-control. And let me tell you something about men who have no self-control. Men who live without self-control are the kind of men who cry when their girlfriend cheats on them, because she certainly does, because she doesn't respect the little crybaby, and she's only with you because she's ugly as fuck and she has to settle for a little soy boy pussy like you. And these guys sitting there, what they're trying to do by telling you to cry is drag you down to their level. They look at people like me, and I say, Ross. And that's a big G. He's out there, he's fucking women, he's got his Lambo, he's a multi-millionaire, self-made, 6'4", 4 times kickboxing world champion, chess genius. I don't like the way he's living his life because he's kicking too much ass. You need to cry more.
Because when you put males and females in survival situations, or the closer they are to a survival situation, the quicker they're going to revert to their gender roles. If you put a whole bunch of men and a whole bunch of women, you strand them on a desert island, the men would start having to build things and fight off the animals, and the women would start farming and whatever the women would do, right?
Exactly.
Yeah? So when shit hits the fan, everyone reverts to their natural gender roles. So if you live in a country like Romania or Russia or a country that's poor, the closer it is to survival, the lower the economic prosperity of the country, the closer people are to their natural gender role. So Russian men are masculine, Russian females are feminine. But in America, it's the richest country in the world. It's a first world problem. All the women get to be stupid and the men get to be pussies because it's just a first world problem. This whole idea of being toxically masculine is absolutely garbage. Nobody's toxically, listen, you're not gonna call me toxically masculine if someone breaks in the house and I start spraying. No one's gonna start calling me toxically masculine. No, there was no one called toxically masculine when they were fucking staying on the Titanic to die. Right? The whole thing is garbage, and it's just by women who are bitter and jealous, trying to insult and demonize men for being natural to their instinct. I don't want to rant too much, right?
No, continue.
I don't want to rant. Okay, let's go. Let's go. The world we live in today tries very, very hard to refuse a man his natural instincts as a man.